let's talk about my top 3 matte eyeshadow formulas of all time. These are my absolute favorite that I know I can rely on. I know I'm going to get a great blend. And as I'm talking through, I will be showing you a look with each of the formulas. I have used these formulas many times on my channel, so you're definitely familiar. I've mentioned many times how much I love these formulas. But let me know in the comments below before you continue watching which one you think is number 1, number 2, and number 3. I would love to hear your guesses. And it's actually really interesting that all of these are square pans. That's very interesting. And then I think the other thing they have in common is that not all the shades swatch the best, which just really goes to show that swatches are really not everything, especially when it comes to mattes, because I have swatched plenty of really beautifully pigmented mattes that I just didn't find they performed really well once used with brushes. And I've also used mattes that didn't swatch the best, but performed amazing on the lid. And all 3 of these did come to mind immediately when I decided I wanted to do my top 3 matte formulas, which honestly really hard to narrow down. I do like a lot, but these 3 are really just like top tier. And the other reason these are in the top 3 is because I've tried so many of different shades of this formula. I have literally stacks of palettes of these formulas sitting in front of me, and that's really the best way to gauge what is your favorite formula, what is the standout formula, if they are consistent across, and if I've tried not only neutrals but also pastels, colorful shades from the same formula. But let's get right into it. And number 3 is Lethal Cosmetics. I have so many. When I first tried their mattes, I just went and I bought all of their single eyeshadows at the time. They definitely have more now. I have a bunch of their palettes. I did buy all of the single shadows myself, and then I did start receiving PR, and they have been sending me their eyeshadow palettes, which again, I love their mattes so much. So here's my empty palette from them, full of the warmer tones, and then I also have an empty palette full of their cooler tones, including some browns, including some pastels, lighter shades, more colorful shades. I just think their formula is very consistent across, and I really do enjoy them very much. So they have switched to smaller, still square pans in their 2 newer palettes. So like this one and the mattes in here are still really consistent with their formula, even though they are in smaller pans. I have just so many palettes, and I'm going to be showing you a tutorial as I'm talking through, but I just know with this formula I can get a really consistent, beautiful look each time. They build on each other really nicely, which is very important to me because I do prefer to build from light to dark with my eye looks and the technique that I use to create eye looks. So when I use this formula, I don't have to reinvent the wheel and go the other way to make this work. I also find that this formula performs really nicely on a multitude of different eyeshadow primers, which is really nice. I do find that some of the shades are a little bit more kick-uppy than others, but that really doesn't matter to me as long as I get a really nice blend and as long as they blend really nicely together. And what's also great about this formula is if you go in with a lighter hand, you can definitely make it more into a buildable formula, but you can also really go in and just get full pigment right off the bat. So you kind of have the best of both worlds with this formula, which is why it is in number 3. And I have tried quite a few shades from there, so I know I love it. Second and first place was really hard. I really love both of these formulas, but at the end of the day, I have tried predominantly neutral and some colorful shades from this brand, and the other brand does have a greater variety of shades that I have tried. And so consistency wise, and because I have tried technically pastels from the other brand, this one is going to go in second place, but it is still so beautiful, and that is Viseart. I have, again, so many palettes. I have fallen in love with this formula. I think you can get it to be buildable for sure, but I think that this one is very pigmented formula, at least the palettes that I have. I don't have all of their palettes. I don't have any of the like smaller palettes that don't come in this larger size, and I also wanted to have this larger size because I love to create some BYOBs featuring Clionadh eyeshadows, which fit into this palette. So I have the Editorial Brights, which is the only kind of experience I have with colorful shades that are in their formula, but predominantly the rest of them are neutral palettes. They have some color, of course. There's oranges, there's purples, there's some really deep mattes. Their dark shadows are truly just so spectacular. Again, they build on each other. I can go from light to dark. I don't get any patchiness. It's just such a reliable formula. I really reach for these neutrals a lot, and there's so many neutrals to choose from. You can get every kind of level of depth and also a spectrum of warmer tone matte, cool tone, etc. Like you have just everything. Just such an amazing consistent formula that I really really reach for. That is great for every day. If I get up at 6:30 in the morning and I want to do my makeup, I just know I can guarantee a really quick, easy blend, a look with this formula. And that's really just all around my top 3. That's definitely one of the biggest reasons why these are my top 3, is how easily I can achieve a look. And that is why Blend Bunny, surprise, surprise, is number 1, because I just think I can create so many different looks. I can get really easy, quick, neutral looks, but I can also get really quick, beautiful blends with colorful shades. And I have definitely tried a wider variety of colors when it comes to Blend Bunny, which is why they are in number 1. So I haven't tried any really pastels from Viseart, and that's why I put it in number 2. But when it comes to Blend Bunny, they just knock it out of the park, no matter the shade, no matter the depth of the shade. They have released such a huge variety of matte. They have the neutrals, which have different tones to them. So you've got your greens, your orangey olives, warmer neutrals, and then greenish neutrals. Such a great palette, this one right here. And then the Allure palette, you have your pastel shades, your mid-tone shades, and then your deepening up shades. The very first palette is the Blends palette that I tried from Blend Bunny, and I did buy this one myself, and then I did receive the rest of the palettes in PR. Also forgot to mention, I bought all of the Viseart palettes. So if you've been on my channel since I tried this palette, you know I use this palette so much. I love to pair this one with my single eyeshadows that I have, all the sparklies. There's actual like dents and dips in here. No pan yet, but there's a dip in Signs, a dip in Remedy. I still a bit of a dip in Spellbound. I mean, this palette truly just so beautiful. It's so easy to use. In general, Blend Bunny palettes are laid out so that you can really create an easy gradient blend, so you can go from darker to lighter to even lighter, to also even launch some neons in the Search palette. Unfortunately, it is not available anymore, but I just love that you have really just everything. And the consistency of the formula, again, just really drives it home for me, because every time I sit down and I use a Blend Bunny palette, I know I'm going to have a really easy time creating a look, and really quick to create. And again, one of those palettes I will reach for in the morning when I'm getting ready for work, where I just want to create something very easy, very quick. I don't have to fuss. I don't have to worry about blending issues, building issues, etc. Like, this is such a reliable formula, and I would have definitely purchased all the rest of the palettes if I had not received them in PR. I mean, it was love at first blend with the Blends palette, and ever since then it was kind of like everything gets compared to the Blends palette. To be honest, it's just a palette that I think makes colorful looks just really easy no matter your skill level. It's just such a beautiful formula. So let me know in the comments below what your most favorite matte formulas are. I would love to hear your thoughts, and also let me know if you were surprised in my ranking. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.